Hey YouTube, Alan back with another package and pickups video, and this one's going to be fair bit of stuff, and all from one excellent YouTuber, massive Sega fan. You all know him. It's Ninjabearhug. So you could say this is Ninjabearhug's big package because it's one big package from him. He's been having a fire sale of his stuff. Apparently, you can have too much retro, or you can have too many games. I didn't think that was possible, but it seems to be the case. So he put a lot of stuff up for sale on Retro Collect and a few other places, and it was hard to say no. I was just kicking myself that Private Joker got in there first and got the Sonic 3 Mega Drive and a few other bits like that. He did the Sega Pico that went as well, and a lovely box Master System 2 Plus model, you know, loads of great stuff. But however, still able to get a nice big package. In fact, I'm going to have to do this in bits because it's quite large, not going to fit readily. I'm going to have to lift it down and take stuff out. But yeah, big package, one main item and then lots of little support items, so to speak. And just a little story before I get going, so skip forward if you don't want to hear about postage and things like that. Ninjabearhug basically sent me on, you know, the pricings and whatnot, and a quote for postage. And I remember I thought to myself, God, that was quite cheap. But being the type of guy he is, he only charges for the actual postage and, you know, not these inflated prices. So I was thinking to myself, man, given the weight of the item, because there's a fair bit in there, I knew it was going to be up, you know, quite a few K, as it were. I was expecting that to be a bit more, a good bit more. And you know, I was thinking maybe just these eBay people are, you know, ripping off, as they often do. You know, one game costing over £5 these days to ship. But as it turned out, it was he thought Northern Ireland and Ireland had would have the same rate. They distinctly do not. So when we found that out, shipping went way up, which is what I always have to deal with. Although, to be fair, you know, that's actually due to the weight of all these items. It's nothing to do with, you know, being unfair in it or anything. That's just the way it is. Although I remember he was saying to me, it just seems ridiculous. Just a few miles down the road and the price skyrockets. What the hell's that all about? On Plus, that's what that's all about. But anyway, enough with that. Let's get on to the good stuff. I'll start off with the main item, which is kind of what caught my interest and why I contacted him. And it's a Mega Drive console variant. Now, I mentioned Private Joker got the Sonic one. That's the one I really would have liked. But Stuart had a load, he had about 27, 28 Mega Drives. All these different box variations. A load of lovely ones. And this one kind of caught my eye, and I just thought it was a good opportunity to get a Mega Drive that I wouldn't ordinarily be able to pick up. And that's this Mega Drive 2, what do they call it? The Ultimate, the Big 6-pack, or Big Pack 6. And it's basically the Mega Game 6-pack. Try and get it in shot as much as possible. Block me out. And it's all box and completion. I'm not going to go through it because there's no point. You know what a Mega Drive 2 looks like. You know, this is actually an Australian bundle, so very hard to get. I need to get it shipped over from Australia. So, you know, just that alone would have just costed a fortune. So yeah, I was delighted to pick this up as a Mega Drive box, because I don't have a box Mega Drive 2. I actually before now don't have a box Mega Drive, so this is my first box Mega Drive. About damn time. So yeah, apparently this is a SCAR cable and all that, but as I said, not going to go through it now because you know what that probably looks like. But it's largely for the box, and that looks great. So, I forgot there was games down there. Nearly put a Mega Drive on top of them. There we go. So the rest of the items in the box are actually all largely, I'll just say, support items. Let me see. Mainly games, and kind of a variety. Basically, he was getting rid of all of his variants. So I just kind of picked up a load of them because he was doing a great deal on them. Oh, that piece just fallen. No. First up is one that's kind of slightly seen, you know, better days in terms of its box, but he did say that, and that's the Gold Collection in a silver box of the Autofans, which was an Australian release. I don't know, did Stuart pick it up himself at this point? No, probably not, given the time, but it's a cash converters for $10, presumably Australian dollars. But I wanted to pick it up because it was the gold collection box, even if the silver box is quite bad. He offered to put it into a standard black case. I can put it into a black case myself. I think I have a spare, so I might actually try and glue up a few of the parts, because it's actually the inside that's the cartridge holder is kind of all bust up, so I might be able to do something to put it together. But I just wanted it because it was a silver box. Moving on, we have a Genesis game, the Aquatic games. Was this the second game, the James Pond game? So, just carton box. These are mixed condition. As I said, I wasn't too concerned about condition because the price was just, you certainly couldn't complain. Next up is a classic box variant, and that's Captain America and the Avengers. And I actually already had a loose cart of this, so this replaces my loose cart. It's nice and complete. There we go. I'm going to try and move through these fairly fast because there's a fair bit of stuff. Next is an absolute tip-top classic. It's Road Rash 2, and it's in an EA Classics. Now, this is actually the version I had. I had the EA Classics when I was younger, but I sold it. One of the very few games I've ever sold. And I got a cart copy back, so I really wanted to get an EA Classics copy, and now we have it. So, of course, one of my earliest gameplays. Go check it out. I love this game. Next up, a Mega Drive kind of classic, I guess. Certainly one you see in a lot of collections and all over the place. Eternal Champions. I never actually played it, believe it or not. Apparently this is the special edition instruction manual, whatever that means. I don't know what the difference is, although it seems to be vertical. It's all colour, which is probably what it means. It's rather nice, actually. I always hated that Sega tended to go with the black and white manuals. And of course, Eternal Champions was a later release, so it comes in a nice late release box too. But still, we'll give it a go. It's always worth chancing those 2D fighters. There's something caught there. And speaking of 2D fighters, you can't go much more better than the classic Super Street Fighter 2. What is this? This is the second Street Fighter game, was it? I always get so confused. I don't mean it's Street Fighter 2, obviously it's the second. What I mean is of the Street Fighter 2 iterations. I always get so confused. Character only, but again, can't complain. And Street Fighter. I'm never great at fighting games, but I love. Don't know, I did that already. But I always like to try out Street Fighters. And next up is another Genesis game, and it's Mercs. Decent enough game. This one's complete. It's kind of a commando style thing. I actually really suck at it though. I have the Master System version, kind of obviously, and yeah, I'm curious to see how this one compares to the Master System version. Moving along, we have, I think it's an RPG, another Genesis. It's the Fairy Tale Adventure. I remember reading this in Mean Machines back in the day. Always thought it seemed interesting. Not sure I'll get the time to play it these days though, but there we go. Have to replace the box in this one because it's an EA box. I find EA boxes are a bit of a bugger to keep. I think I might have a spare one or two. Yeah, it looks like your typical the greatest quest is waged with the sword, but won with wisdom. And apparently your hero is Julian. That's a very heroic name. The next up we have another Australian game, another silver box, and that's Buggerman. And apparently this is quite a good game. So if you can see there, it's silver. Although, I don't know, is it just me or do these silver boxes tend to collapse in and whatnot? Particularly, actually, I find Australian boxes, they tend to damage much more readily than European and American boxes. But yeah, I've heard that this is a pretty good game. Not much on the back. Jesus, they could have done more with using up that space. But yeah, the team seems a little gross out for me, but I'll give it a go, especially given that it's well rated. We've seen Super Street Fighter 2, and now we have Street Fighter 2 Special Champion Edition. Now, is that the first one or the second one? I don't know. And this is another Australian game. This is a Platinum Collection Edition. So that's another one of the kind of re-release things that they did down in Australia, because they had the silver boxes, they had the what's that one called? The Gold Collection, and now the Platinum Collection. So a fair few variants there. go, nice and complete. Although it's got an Aussie soft manual, which it actually looks more like a Master System nearly cover manual than your Mega Drive manual with the black cover. So plenty of fighters to keep me going. An EA Classics up again, and it's General Chaos. Apparently this one supports a 4-player adapter. I remember reading it in Mean Machines back in the day, basically saying, yeah, 1 player, not necessarily the best, but if you get it in multiplayer, apparently it's quite good. A very, very plain, white, papery looking manual. Of course, ticky manual, but nice and complete. So that's good. And as I said, all these are variants. So next up we have Winter Challenge. What's this? 8 great winter events. Supports the Mega Drive system because it's for the Sega Genesis Mega Drive. These are those kind of dual releases. So it's the kind of cardboard box game. So, as being a cardboard box, out of all the Mega Drive games, these are the ones that tend to be worse for wear. I'll put that down there. But off camera nearly. But I don't actually have a cardboard box Mega Drive game, so that's my first one. And next up is one that, again, very interested to try out if I get the time, and that's the Genesis version of King's Bounty. I know Shenmue's will be kind of going, ooh, a few nice Mega Drive RPGs in here. The first fantasy adventure for the Conqueror. Who's the Conqueror? I don't know, but there we go. Nice and complete. A little sun faded, but complete. And again, given the price I got these for, working out pretty much about £1 a game, I don't even know why I'm mentioning condition. They're virtually free. So there we go. Mark, wait a second. I don't know that I inadvertently asked for 2 copies and it works. Maybe I did. I can't remember. But anyway, it's PAL and NTSC. So if I feel like playing the PAL copy, maybe I asked for 2. I can't remember. Basically, Ninjabearhug sent me on he sent me on pictures of a load of spare variants he had, and it was like kid in the candy store. Okay, starting to get through it now. Next up, we have a Genesis. Is this Genesis? Yep, it must be because it got the Sega quality, and it's Predator 2. So there we go, nice and complete. I remember back, again, Mean Machines, they had, a Predator 2 in the review book, and the only screenshot they had was the kind of pseudo clip from the movie, which is basically actually this cover, digitized. Not exactly giving you a good indication what the gameplay is. And we have another Australian game, as you can tell from the G symbol, and it is Animaniacs. Nice condition actually, this one. Feels heavy too. Yep. So it's complete. Yeah, that G really actually screws up the spine because they're covering up the bloody Konami logo. Damn them and their rating systems. Now I've never actually played the Mega Drive version, but on MRGR, Michael's Retro Gaming Radio podcast, was David Hasselhoff, his channel. He was going through some of the music of this game. I think he did a review of it too, and no way he did a review of Power Rangers, but some good music in this game actually on the SNES. So I'm hoping that the Mega Drive will have some good music too, especially the Pinky and the Brain tune. And because we just haven't got enough fighters. It's Mortal Kombat. Anyway, I've only ever played this a little bit because as I said, I'm tend to be crap at them. But now I can practice. Surely with all these fighting games, I'll have to get a bit better at them. Back over to the USA for Krusty's Super Fun House. Yeah, I could never figure out how to play this game at all. I've tried it a few times and I keep getting stuck very early on. Strikes me as some sort of, the Lemmings-esque type of puzzling, having small little characters and manipulating them to kind of get around or to do things. But there we go. I actually always got the impression that this would be a really good game if I sat down and took the time to figure it out and get into it. But who's got the time? Next up then is something a little different. and that is a pirate game, Road Rash 3. Now, I love the Road Rash games. I didn't have this one, so for a quid or whatever, I was going to throw it in to play the game. It doesn't matter if it's pirate or not, because it's just a great game. I can upgrade it later on to a real copy, but I just want to try it out. Because I think a helicopter or something came down in this one, and there was more vehicles. Yeah, you can just about see in the back there, maybe. There's a helicopter. So, when I had sent on the list, Ninjabearhug had said to me, you do realise that XX and Y are pirate games? And I was like, oh, I did not. And I should have done, because I remember even thinking when it's fine, going, God, that doesn't look quite right at all. And like they were fairly blatantly obvious that they weren't. What with the entire, no sign of Sega Mega Drive or Genesis on that cover. Getting there. And we have something a super, super, super common game that I do not have. The most common game on the Mega Drive, Sonic 2. And I've never had a box copy before. I got Sonic 2 as part of the Sonic compilation when I was younger, so I didn't have it. And later on, in order to play Sonic 2 and Knuckles, I think I rented it at one point, and then much later on, I got a loose cart. So this is actually the first time I've ever had a box copy, and of course it's a Sonic game. I definitely want to get a box copy, and it seems to have 2 manuals, because it has this presumably Australian thing, and so yeah, kind of a fold-out Australian manual, which is a very common for Master System games. They did that as well. And this more booklet style manual, which is all in English. So I don't know, is this the English one or sorry, the English one? Is it the American one, or what's the story? No, it can't, because it says Mega Drive. So I take it that there was actually 2 Sonic manuals in Australia. Very odd. Won't complain though. Well, for those of you who've seen my Where in Time video, which is, by the way, one of my favourite gameplay videos, I don't know, I was dying playing that game. It was hilarious. But anyway, we have Where in the World, and that means Stuart has actually sent me over both of the Where in games is Carmen Sandiego. Yeah, I always have a soft spot for these games. I quite enjoy them. Apparently, the Book of World Facts is required. But it doesn't come at one. How will I cope? Probably pretty badly, seeing the other gameplay. Yeah, go check that out. Nearly there. We have possibly the best Mega Drive game going. Best game going. It's Shaquille O'Neal's Shaq Fu. Apparently, 7 foot 1 inch, 21.5 stone, the master of Shaquille or something. Yep, infamous. What do you need to say about Shaq Fu? But I still wanted it to try it out. It's one of those games you just gotta try. You don't need manuals for a game like that, that's for sure. And then finally, a last minute edition actually, in the game's front. It's Disney's Aladdin, and this looks like a UK or PAL release. Yeah, because it's going straight across actually. Normally they go up and down like that, don't they? I don't know if that made sense, but yeah, see the line going straight across instead of having the normal cutout. Have I got a comparison? Yeah, Sonic will do. So where the logo of the game kind of goes up in an angle. Aladdin does not do that. But at the last second, because of the slight delay that the postage thing cost, I had been bidding on a few games and I was hoping to get bundled shipping, so I hadn't said Aladdin to Ninjabearhug. Didn't win those games, so I said any chance of sticking this one in too. And it's all perfectly nice and complete too, so total bonus. And I enjoy this game, so really pleased to get that one as well. So that's a hell of a lot of nice games. And then to kind of round it all out, there's a loose Mega Drive 1. And I just want to tinker with this one more than Anthem. Basically, he just wanted shot at me. A load of loose consoles. I must have had about 6 loose PlayStation 1s. And then a power supply and a 3-button controller. And I can dig out an RF. I'm sure I can get one of those pretty cheap if I don't have them. So there we have it. There was the nice bundle, which, hey, I'm nearly walled in again by all this stuff. This, the game was trying to regrow, I think. It just did not like being taken apart. But yeah, lovely Australia. This seems to be like the Australian variant video, because there was quite a few of those Australian games, and I'm pretty sure this is an Australian pack, if I remember. Ninjabearhug. Yeah, it says Sega Aussie Soft on the back, so pretty hard to get. And I love the front cover. I love the kind of the split of the games. And can you imagine getting this console with those games back in the day? I mean, talk about class. Revenge of Shinobi, Golden Axe, Streets of Rage, even Collium's World Soccer and Super Hang-On are bloody good too. So yeah, what a console. But thanks to Shure for sending those over and for doing that price, because it was a really, really, really fair review. Really do appreciate it. And if you haven't, go check out the channel. I'm sure you have. Everyone knows Ninjabearhug now, surely. And I've been seeing quite a few on forums and on YouTube packages from Ninjabearhug recently, so he must have had great success with his fire sale. And it's all over. It's all over. If you didn't get in, I believe he's done, at least till after Christmas. But there we have it. Hope you enjoyed. Hope I managed to kind of keep it moving there, because there was a fair bit of stuff. We'll be back with another video soon enough. I'm hoping to do a Project Games Room update, because there's been a fair bit of progress. Quite a bit really since the last video, and it's only been a couple of weeks, so it's nicely moving along. Yeah, see you back again soon. Bye for now.